I call to order the Simpsonville City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for October 22nd, 2024. City Clerk Clark, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember O'Rear.
Here.
Councilmember Rupe.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Roche.
Here.
Councilmember Pinkerton.
Here.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Here.
Mayor Shewmaker.
Here. Please rise as you are able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the last meeting that will be conducted in these council chambers. Our next council meeting will be in the new municipal complex, and I know that all of us up here are looking forward to that, and all staff and our police departments and fire department, everybody is looking forward to getting into the new building. So we look forward to seeing you all over there. Each member of council has received a copy of the minutes of our September 24th Committee of the Whole meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, those minutes will stand approved as written. The next item is citizen comments. We have one sign up for citizen comments this evening. It's from the Simpsonville Arts Foundation, and I'm going to call Cindy Tench and her wing persons to the podium to give us a presentation from SAFI. I will point out that we do use a timer system. The light will remain white until you begin your comments, at which time it will turn to green. And at 30 seconds to go, it changes to yellow. And when your time is up, it changes to red. So if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes, we appreciate that. And we'll hold on just 1 second while I get the timer ready to go. Okay, if you will proceed.
Sure, thank you. My name is Cindy Tench, and I'm with the Simpsonville Arts Foundation, along with Melissa Sturgis and Ann Moore, who are also board members of SAFI, as we're known. We're here simply to say thank you to the city for the support that they've shown us on all of our projects over the years, and it truly has been appreciated by us as an organization. It's priceless to have good business partners, and we do think of the city as a great business partner. So some may not be aware of our organization. It was originally formed to help, in decades ago, to help maintain and preserve the elementary school for the purpose of an art center. So over time that has come to fruition, and we're just thrilled about that. So now what we're doing is turning our purpose of SAFI into making Simpsonville an arts city. We already have so many displays of art within our community, and we really want to highlight that as we move forward. So our purpose now is focusing on events that will help bring that to fruition. So we've got in the city of Simpsonville already, we have murals and statues and sculptures. We have art galleries and new ones coming in. And SAFI wants to be a part of that in growing art environment wherever we can. I just want to let you know that we held our Simpsonville's very first outdoor art festival back in June, originally scheduled for May, but due to weather, postponed till June. And that was a huge success. We had over 20 artisans from South Carolina come in, and we've had some great success promoting those artists and their career into the art world. So Simpsonville is really getting their foothold already in the community. Is a great environment for that. Our annual Oktoberfest is very successful, and this year we had over 1,500 people join us on Friday night. And it was just a fabulous event, and those people also went to the local businesses within our community, and they went back and told their friends what a fabulous time they had in Simpsonville. So I want to thank the city for partnering with us on the music series and food truck rodeo. And just want to say that we're off to a really good start and appreciate everything that the city has done for us. Also want to know, if, as parting gifts, can we take a chair with us? You're not going to be needing that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We very much appreciate the Simpsonville Arts Foundation and everything you do, and it's an honor for us to partner with you. So thank you for what you do in the community.
Thanks.
Next is our staff reports. We will begin with item 6A, our community relations report. Justin Campbell. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The initial phase of building the new website will conclude soon, and the content-focused phase that's tailored to the departments and what they need out of the website will begin soon as well. Our Hillcrest High School partnership continues to strengthen. I started attending the School Improvement Council meetings at the high school, and I'm working on a form that administrators and teachers can provide to students and student groups for encouraging them to volunteer for city events and participate in city events. As far as the municipal complex move, we are working on that messaging. We're informing the public about location changes of City Hall and Public Safety Headquarters, as well as Fire Station 1 on social media, websites, the electronic sign, and I'm trying to get the media to help us put it out there as much as possible. Voting is coming up, Election Day. We're in early voting, and the city is working to provide information and resources about voting to the public. Often members of the public, understandably, assume or believe that the city runs elections at the precincts or polls that are in the city. And so we try to educate them and refer them to the Greenville County Election Commission. Tying into the municipal complex move is that we'll be closed, city operations will pause November 1st and 4th, days that we would probably get a lot of phone calls and emails about voting. And we are reopening on Election Day, which we will probably get phone calls and emails about voting that day. And so I see part of my role is managing that as much as possible to help voters to find the information they need. The Youth Advisory Board has really accelerated its work. They are working on a new community event. And so at this time, for a short report from the board, the Vice Chair of the Youth Advisory Board, Kirsten, Lanza, is going to give a report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Kirsten Lanza, and I am the Vice Chair of the Youth Advisory Board. Tonight, I want to discuss several updates with you. First, the Youth Advisory Board has adopted Crisp Street and has already been there once to survey the area and participate in the cleanup of this street. We have another date planned to go and clean up again. Number two, we are in the process of planning a drive-in movie night on December 6th. Entrance would be free, but donations to support the Simpsonville Police Department's Toys for Tots charity will be accepted. We plan to have concessions, such as hot chocolate, for example, of which the proceeds will go to the annual charity. Finally, the board has been discussing ways to launch anti-drug campaign, especially in middle and high schools, either through social media or some other event. This is an important issue to us as teenagers and something we would like to help prevent. Thank you for your time, and I will turn it back over to Justin.
Ms. Lanza, thank you very much. If you would stay there for just a moment. Do you have anything further, Mr. Campbell?
Yes, sir. Ms. Lanza has to go back. The board is actually meeting downstairs.
Well, all right. Well, then let me just see if the council has any questions or comments for Ms. Lanza. Councilmember O'Rear.
Have we picked a movie yet?
No, it's still being decided.
All right. Thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you for your report. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The decision right now is between ELF and a Christmas vacation, so we're excited to see what the board decides upon. They are really looking for that kind of high school demographic and family demographic. This is a really exciting event. It's something that Mr. Davis and Mr. Foster have been wanting to do for years, and we're excited about having a drive-in movie night that hopefully will happen several times a year, and it will be the Youth Advisory Board's program. At this time, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or get you an answer.
Councilmember Pinkerton.
Excuse me, Justin, I'm looking forward to the website being launched. Do you have any idea when that's going to hit?
It should hit the first week of December, and the should comes in because our contract with the current provider ends the 31st of December.
Okay.
So it will have to be in place before that.
One thing that I'll make a note of is over the last couple of weeks, I've had a number of people either call me or get in touch with me in several different ways wanting to know what's the city doing about this. Having to be a lot about sticks. But I try to refer them to the website because you guys post the information there. So I'm hoping that this website will get out to the public that if they need information, they can go there. Because I can say anything, it might not be the right thing, so I just want to make sure that the website is geared to public information.
We've stressed it goes streamlining, accessibility, but most importantly, the public getting the information that they need. So that is what I'm expecting from Ghost, as well as making it easier for people to access current information and information that never changes, it just stays the same.
Council, anything further for Mr. Campbell? Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next up is our Economic Development Report from John Derby, our Planning Director. Mr. Derby.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. First of all, I want to apologize. I did not get this to you all in July due to the scheduling issue. So a lot more information this one. Nothing too alarming. Only thing I would note that permits are starting to go a little bit down this time of year. Planning Commission, we have quite a few items to go to Planning Commission. Since this is a report from July as well, y'all seen some of these that came before y'all. With exception to administration, review, preliminary plan, and miscellaneous finance to the zoning ordinance, which I'll be talking about later. The Board of Zoning Appeals met twice this year for a variance and a special exception for multifamily. And I can answer your questions you might have.
Council? Councilmember O'Rear.
Just more than a point than a question, I guess. At a cursory glance, if some of these were to have impact fees attached, it would have been about $250,000 towards the city versus $41,000 of permits. That's all.
Council? Thank you, Mr. Derby. Item 6C, Financial Report from our Finance Director, Christine Furino. Director Furino.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A few highlights from the September financial report. General fund revenues for September were about $433,000 with a year-to-date total of just over $1 million. September expenses were $4.8 million, which includes $3.1 million of that for the musical complex. Year-to-date expenses are $12.2 million for the general fund. Sewer fund revenues for September were $44,000 with a year-to-date $436,000. September expenses were $43,000 with a year-to-date total of $151,000. The hospitality and accommodation revenues for September were $413,000 and a year-to-date total of $971,000. September expenses were $26,000 with a year-to-date total of $698,000. The Public Works Enterprise Fund revenues for September were just over $6,000 with a year-to-date total of $22,000. And the September expenses were $85,000 and a year-to-date total of $250,000. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Council? Councilmember Rupe.
Do we have any numbers yet? And I probably should have called you earlier today to get this, so if you don't have it with you, that's fine. I'm curious what has the city spend increased dramatically since the hurricane, with tree cleanup and hiring crews, and it's a two-part question, and if so, I would like to see what that was and when we could expect that back from FEMA or the federal government, and are we guaranteed to get those funds back? Is that a Administrator Gracely question, or?
My understanding is we are supposed to be refunded 100% from FEMA. The expenses are still kind of rolling in, and it's gonna take some time to get a grand total of all those expenses. But there have been some come through so far.
So is that all funds, or just the extra crews and extra manpower we're having to hire, or will that coincide with how our expenses have changed as a city as well?
I think any expenses related to that storm cleanup, staff cleaning up the trees and any infrastructure, will be reimbursed 100% is what we're being told from FEMA. I don't, but that it could take a year or more to get that reimbursement from FEMA. I'm not sure how quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Council? Thank you, Director Furino.
Thank you.
Item 6D, our City Administrator Report from Administrator Dianna Gracely. Ms. Gracely?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to piggyback on Councilmember Rupe's question and start with the storm cleanup. So I'll work my way back from this report. To answer your question, initially it was all overtime by bringing staff in, keeping them here for double shifts, things like that. The fire department was running 2 shifts simultaneously. Public Works, they were spending the night at the Public Works facility so they could get up the next morning as soon as the sun came up to work. Let me just stop the financial part of it to say it was an heroic effort by those staff members to manage this storm, because you all know the intensity of it and the damage caused by it, and I am just in awe of what they were able to accomplish. Everybody stepped up and did more to help get through this, but particularly the fire department and public works department. So they are to be commended. Police department as well, responding to the volume of calls that were coming in as a result. So everyone really stepped up and did just an amazing job. So initially our expenses were limited to overtime pay for all of the staff members who were working, double shifts and beyond through the weekend, times when they weren't scheduled to work. Those at man hours are being logged into a form that will eventually be submitted to FEMA. Ms. Furino and I are already in the FEMA portal. I answered more questions in that portal today. This is going to be a grant that's then provided to the city once we've submitted all of our items for reimbursement. So she's correct when she says this is a very long process. Some of the items we have no idea what the cost will be. We had damage to, we had some pipes, stormwater pipes that separated, undermined roads, and so those things are just now in the engineering phase to be corrected. So we have no idea what those expenses are. We have an outside company that's helping now with Public Works debris removal. Because if it, with the equipment and the manpower we have in Public Works, we would be doing that for the next 6 months without outside help. So we've brought in reinforcements to try to get that debris up as quickly as possible. Those are the types of things we'll be requesting reimbursement for. But we are, from everything I'm being told, 100% of those costs will be reimbursed, including engineering fees and all of those things.
Okay, thank you.
So I wanted to mention that. I'm going to back up to the municipal complex because I think that's probably the next most important thing on the list. We are scheduled to move next Friday. We're closed to the public, as Mr. Campbell said, on Friday the 1st and Monday the 4th will be reopened for business at our new facility on Tuesday the 5th. It is a beautiful facility. There are still some things that are not completed. They started moving in furniture yesterday though. We have a temporary occupancy permit. So people can be in there working. We just can't be sitting at desks working until we get to a certain point. But we will be there beginning November 1st. With the move and then open to the public on the 5th. The rest of the work that needs to be done after that point will be purely cosmetic things. You know, all of the major items have been taken care of. There's a delay with the terrazzo for the staircase in the lobby, but they're going to carpet those stairs in the interim so that we have safe passage for people who want to use the staircase. The elevator's functioning. Council chambers looks beautiful. Like I said, furniture's being moved in. It's starting to really come together. Now, from the park standpoint, there's going to be a little delay because the river stone that's going in all the bioswales was coming out of Black Mountain, North Carolina. So you can imagine that those loads have started to come in, but that caused a delay because they weren't able to pour the remaining sidewalks around the perimeter or throughout the park until those big trucks with those heavy loads were able to come in and bring all the river stone. So with that, we discussed that the playground would be open to the public the week of Thanksgiving. That's the messaging that we're using right now because they are going to have to put some of that temporary fencing to keep people off that area until all those sidewalks have cured. And a lot of those forms are not even in place yet because they're still getting those loads in from Black Mountain. But everything's really coming together and looking beautiful. They started laying sod on one of the athletic fields today, so it's going to really start greening up, and we're so excited about it. So with that, you have the report. If there are any other questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Council? Councilmember Hutchings.
I have a question. This may be a public works question, but my understanding is with cleanup, if the homeowner has limbs and so forth that they're cleaning up in their property, then the city will pick that up. But if a contractor comes in and does the work, then they're responsible for disposing of the wood, right? And how does the city determine that?
That's a really good question. So we were trying to separate the two, but found that it was too difficult to police that because of the amount of debris. So we're picking up everything now. Now, tree services understand that it is their responsibility in every municipality they work in to take that debris with them. Some of them are doing it, some of them are not, but we can't police it. So we're going to be picking up everything. We tried with messaging from the beginning to say, if your insurance company is paying a tree service, please make sure they haul off the debris. But I think, when people hear FEMA and reimbursement, they just think we'll leave it there and the city can get it. And we will. It's just adding to the length of time it's going to take us to get to all of that.
My other question is in regard to all the damage that was incurred at Alder Park. Do we have any idea as to how we might be able to restore some of the things that were damaged at the park, particularly the pump track? At this point, are we still working in that direction, or what's the goal?
I'll call Mr. Davis up to answer more specifics on that, but I believe they have pieced the pump track back together, not the full pump track that you all saw several weeks ago, but enough so that people can use it again.
Mayor, Council, our goal is to reestablish the pump track as it was. We had 31 pieces that were damaged beyond repair. We had pieces 200 yards down the creek. We had 35 pieces that are salvageable and good. What we did instead of like what I call an A to an A, we got an A to a B. When you enter, you go a couple loops or ramps, and then you come off at exit B. But we're in the process of pricing those 31 pieces that we need. Like if we need 8 curved pieces, 4 bumps, whatever you call it, we're looking to put the whole thing back together as it was. And that, believe it or not, was the pretty much the only damage other than trees falling in the creek that we had. So we were, you guys seen those disc golf holes? I think I shared some pictures with water was up to the top of them. And it's unbelievable. But I think we pulled more sand out of the parking lot than we could put on every golf course in the county. But our plan, to answer your question directly, is we plan to go back with it just as it was, in the same configuration.
I appreciate that.
And recreation amenities are reimbursable as well. And if I may, I completely neglected Parks and Rec and their role in this cleanup as well. They had a monster job to do in Heritage Park with trees down, and we had calls from a couple homeowners. I fielded a couple of those of trees from the park property onto their property, and they were concerned about it causing other trees on their property to fall. So they went out immediately and rectified that situation, and made everybody feel more secure, got the parks open and functioning again as quickly as they could. So my apologies to Mr. Davis and Mr. Foster for not recognizing their efforts and their staff's efforts as well in the cleanup.
I want to say this, I've gotten nothing but good comments for all of the city staff and the work that's been done in the city. I haven't heard anybody complaining that we're not doing a good job, and obviously all the departments should be complimented on the work that was done during the storm.
Councilmember Roche.
I was told, but I don't remember who told me, the insurance or city insurance is paying for the replacement of the track.
No, we're going to end up filing that with our FEMA reimbursement because it is, according to the law, recreation amenities are eligible for reimbursement. So we're going to put all that with FEMA, and if anything gets rejected by FEMA, then we will file it on our insurance.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rupe.
Just a question. It was originally discussed when we put pump track in there that water and things couldn't move it. Now we're seeing that it can. Are we potentially putting this back in a spot where we're going to be in the same spot next heavy rain? Should it go at another park? What's going to prevent this from happening again now that we see that it's happened?
So I don't know that we're going to see another hurricane of this magnitude and the kind of rainfall that came with it. I certainly hope we don't see this again. There is always a possibility we will. I think a regular heavy rainfall will put, standing water in that filled area, but not taking those very heavy pieces 200 yards downstream. I think this is a really unique and hopefully once in our lifetime event. If it happens a second time, then at that point, I think we need to discuss moving it to a park where that's not possible. But I hate to do that at Alder Park and then take it away because we had this really unusual weather event so quickly after we dedicated that. I think it is worth trying to restore it there. And yes, there will be heavy rain events and there will be standing water, but I don't think it'll be anything to the level that would cause damage to the pop track.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you.
Council. Administrator Grace Lee, where does the downtown revitalization of the streetscape stand with DHEC, and when will contracts potentially be let?
The last report I got back from our civil engineer is that he still has not received any comments back from DHEC on the plans that have been sitting down there for a few weeks now. We are also still trying to finalize all of the easement purchases or donations. We're really hopeful that there will be a lot of donations that come in. I've talked to several property owners, the largest of which is First Baptist, and they indicated that they fully intend to donate those easements to the city. That's the majority of the ones that we need. United Community Bank has one. Bill Burton, who owns Simpsonville Square, where Willie Taco is, has one. I've spoken with them. They intend to donate. I've spoken with Dr. Burden about some property we need on West Curtis Street. The people I have a relationship with, I've tried to talk to them about donations. Given the fact that we're going in over budget on this project, so I'm trying to save this money where we can. And they've all indicated that, they plan to do that. So I'm just hoping we'll get those finalized in the next week or two, and then we'll be in a better position to push DHEC and say, look, now we really need this permit because we're ready to go out to bid. It's a twofold issue. It's a DHEC permit, and it's getting the right amount or percentage of easements in hand before we put it out to bid. But we're all working as hard as we can to make that happen.
Thank you. All of our department heads or their representatives are with us tonight from each of the departments that don't have a spot on the agenda. However, I am thinking that council will be very curious about where we stand on our cleanup efforts, so I'm going to call Andy West, our Public Works Director, up to the microphone, and if you would give us a report on the status of that.
Mayor, Council, it's been a busy few weeks for us for sure. Dianna was talking about everybody and their actions during the storm, when I was sitting at the clock tower as the hurricane was hitting, here's 2 police cars coming through with their side markers on, rain going sideways, fire department's out there with us. So it really was a team effort as far as getting things back to normal or as close as we can. So right now, you'll see Belmore Construction. If you live on this side of town, they're kind of focused on Wagon Creek, getting ready to finish that up. They've kind of moved into Poinsettia. Hopefully the next stop will be Powderhorn. I haven't talked with them about Powderhorn yet, but they need to head that way. On the west side of town, you'll see our 2 trucks are there right now currently. We just kind of left the Davenport Road, moving towards Hunter's Woods. We've got a 3rd truck that broke down on us last Thursday. We called the repair shop, and they're like, moved it to the front of the line because it's doing storm cleanup, so they kicked it up to the front of the line. It comes back tomorrow, and we'll send it to the Alice and Morgan Circle, Alice Street, Morgan Circle, Garrison Road area when we get it back. So right now, we're just trying to work through town, knowing that when we get to the end, we got to turn around and do it again. So we're probably 6 weeks out, 6 to 8 weeks. Leaf season is not started yet, but we're looking to put maybe 1 truck out a week. As the trash truck guys get done with their route, they can get out and start sucking up some of the leaves. At least try to get some progress made so we're not behind. Bag yard waste, you'll see it on the curb, we're behind on that as well. And we're looking to take our small rear loader and turn that into a bag yard waste truck just for the next couple of weeks so we're again not get behind on that. I did write down some numbers just for the past 3 weeks, just to kind of put it in perspective. So currently we're measuring things in cubic yards because we can't weigh our trucks. We're taking it to Henson's. When Henson says, hey, you got to stop bringing it here, we take it over to MSI on Highway 25. Twin Chimneys is just too far away, and the county started charging for brush, so we were cheaper on this side of town. So as of today, we have hauled 12,635 cubic yards of debris, which that's about 400 of our normal trucks. They haul 26 yards. So that's 400 trucks. Somebody missing overtime hours. I pulled those numbers today. We're right at 551 overtime hours in the past 3 weeks. Some guys are working 31 hours every pay period, so an extra week to stay on top of things. When it first happened, it was kind of overwhelming. You see all this stuff on the street. I've seen tornadoes. I've seen ice storms. This is the worst I've ever seen. But when you ride through a neighborhood and you got people on older driver tailwood out there dragging limbs, you pull over like, hey, we're coming. And they're like, oh, don't worry about us, we're just doing our part. Same thing on this side of town. No matter what side of town it was on, there was neighbors in the street helping neighbors. And it was really impressive to see that. None of this gets accomplished though without my guys. I'm gonna brag on them a little bit, a little biased, I guess, because they work for me. But at the end of the day, you know, we slept there Thursday night, we're in the storm Friday morning, and, I haven't heard any complaints, one, from them as much as they've been working. So, but if you have questions, I'd much rather answer your questions than sit here and try to, you know, bore you with information. We're on top of it, probably looking at Thanksgiving, maybe, that's our goal. But, when you look at the calendar, I looked at the calendar today, and I didn't realize that November starts next week. Everything's blended together on me right now, so, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Council? Councilmember Rupe?
Did you say the county's getting some kind of pushback on some of these when you're delivering the waste?
So, no, the county has always been free to dump for yard waste until last year. And they did start charging per ton, so we looked at another option that was cheaper and closer. Because if you've ever been to Twin Cities, you might as well pack a lunch, because it is at the furthest end of southern Greene County. So, MSI over here in 25 is where we haul our stuff most of the time. Henson's is right here inside Hillcrest High School. It's just faster. You know, it just makes more sense. If we gotta pay $300 a load to go to Henson's, we're hauling 5 tractor trailer loads a day. On a good day, 6 on a great day, and 2 on Friday, which is a short day. So,
But we're logging all of these dollars for
everything. So Christine has set up a line item for us to code bills to, just to make it easier to track from the financial side.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Pinkerton?
And first of all, thank you very much for y'all's effort, everybody, actually. I mean, I called you first thing that Friday morning, you guys are already on it. And, of course, my neighborhood was 2 blocked. Next thing you know, and you're right, Poinsettia neighborhood got out there and was cleaning up trash with you guys, everybody else. But I guess my real question was, and you might have already answered, is there a date where you just call it off? Is there a set date, or you're just gonna go to a point where you're good? Part of my question is this, and I've talked to some of the people out there cleaning up, is that if they come in with the dumpsters, which they've been doing in Poinsettia, and those dumpsters leave, if you put big stuff back out there, don't expect the city to clean it up. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it, because actually I think the citizens are getting a break. I mean, they're picking up whole trees and putting them in the dumpsters. So is there a cutoff?
Eventually, we'll have to establish a cutoff.
Yeah.
So right now, we ride the city, you know, every day. And that's something we really need to think about internally, is when do we meet that? Because you're gonna get into the normal yard waste. If somebody's pruning their bushes and they put it out there. As far as the contractor, we brought those guys on just to help us keep our head above water to a point. I think they're looking at about a 6-week timetable based on the agreement we signed. So I think once we get closer to that, we'll just have to reevaluate when do we start going back to normal operations as far as the size of wood we pick up. You have people slide stuff out there now that you can tell been sitting around the backyard fire pit for years.
Oh yeah.
We just grab it. You know,
I guess, and I rode through Powderhorn today, but it's devastating over there. But there's trees in the back of people's yards that are down. And at some point, they may clean them up. But I guess next year, when they finally pull them out to the street, really
sooner rather than later. Next year, obviously, they'll have to hire somebody to haul it off. So we printed out, we have 4 clipboards on our conference table. Our next step is we took the trash routes and divided those trash routes up. So as we ride around town, it's a map, and we just document the trees we see, much like that. Like this tree is obviously from the storm, so we go ahead and highlight that address so we know we may have to come back and revisit that.
Good idea.
Some of the tree companies have cut them up 12 foot long and 36 inches round. We send our street guys out there with the saws, and they pretty much pluck them off with the skid steer and cut them to lengths that either the contractor can handle or our knuckle booms can handle. So the next step is documenting what's still left in somebody's yard, because like on Alder Drive, they just now got a tree off a house last week, I think, or maybe 2 days ago, but it was on the truck for a while, and now it's on the curb. So,
well, again, thank you. Appreciate your hard work.
Councilmember Roche?
Along the same lines, I didn't want to be the heavy because everyone's cleaning up and they have more than they can handle. But we are seeing whole trees, huge 100-year-old trees in the street. And I've asked nicely in my own neighborhood, put them at least 2 feet from the curb on the grass side of the curb, not in the street, but they're ending up in the street. And so we've got situations where you just have to drive down the middle of the street and hope that a car's not coming, and then we kind of duck behind the piles and let each other pass. And I'm wondering if maybe we could, maybe at this point, put something out there, let people know online, some sort of public announcement that, I mean, it's a little late. They're not going to roll giant trees back into their yard.
Well, we initially tried to do a size, so 6 inches diameter, 6 feet long is our normal size. We asked if it was over 36 to be cut, or if it was over 6 inches long to be cut 36 inches or less. Some people heard it, some people didn't. There's a couple files, up in Hunter's Woods that are still have some pretty good sized logs in them. There's one on Top Street that is as big as around as a desk that Administrator Craig is sitting at. And we just tackle that on a case-by-case basis. If we see something like that, even though we may not be doing the entire neighborhood, we try to send the truck in there just to open it up. I mean, you guys want to get around it. Harold or Chief Nichols and Chief Henshaw have to get around it. So that was initially the focus of any storm cleanup, is making sure they can get where they have to go to help you out. So, and again, I think we'll just document that on a map. You know when a street's too tight to send somebody out there, and well, they're just going to wait maybe a week. So that's just that daily process we're going through right now.
As far as brush goes, though, every year, just with brush cleanup, people will put it in the street. Rather than, I don't want to make a dead spot on my grass. Well, nobody wants to drive through it either. So,
Typically, when that happens, it is an issue. We send code enforcement to pay an educational visit, not necessarily to write them a ticket, but just to educate them on what they need to do.
Thank you.
Councilmember O'Rear.
I guess piggyback will be on Councilman Pinkerton's question about the felled trees that are in backyards, side yards that haven't been cut up yet. Do we have any ballpark idea of how far back maybe the private contractors are that would be cutting these up? Because this could end up costing someone thousands and thousands of dollars next year if they can't get around to it, or if they just wait to get around to it. Because if right now, if they can get it to the curb, you'll pick it up. So I'm wondering if they're that far behind, or is there plenty of private work going on out there that could get it? In other words, I guess get around to it. I think it'd be a good idea for us to try to put something out there. Hey, we don't have an infinite amount of time to pick up. The sooner you get this out there, the better you are, and we will get this for you. If you wait, this is going to be your responsibility, because it could be a multi-$1,000 mistake on their part just because they put it off.
We do need to get some information out there regarding that, and of course we'll just have Justin push it out as best he can. We try to put stuff on Facebook as a storm, right after the storm, try to educate people. I'm not a Facebook guy. I can make a post, but it's not as creative as things that Justin puts out there. So I do agree. We do need to decide on the date as far as, all right, this is the stop point. Everything else past this is going to be on the homeowner.
Yeah, I think just kind of press people. No one knows that date right now. Just kind of press to them. The quicker you can get this done, the better it's going to be for you, because a date will be coming at some point in the near future, because, we have to move on to your normal routine. But I did want to take the opportunity to thank you for everything, because everything, I'm one of the newer guys here, so I don't have the following on my Facebook and all this stuff and all that. I heard nothing but positive things. I think I was telling Lieutenant Donnelly before the meeting, I think everyone in Simpsonville knew we were in this together type thing. Didn't hear anybody complaining. Some people got power back quick. I was kind of in the middle, some people later. But y'all, every one of you out there, police, fire, public works, nothing but good things, and I truly appreciate it, because this wasn't a normal storm. This probably hurt us worse than Hugo did in '89 for us, and so I guess getting back to pump track, this is something you're not going to. We probably, none of us in this room will probably ever see this again. But y'all's efforts and your response to something that is so tremendously unusual was like Administrator Grayson said, pretty much heroic. So I really appreciate it on behalf of myself and the folks that voted for me in the whole town of Simpsonville.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Like I said, it was a team effort.
Absolutely.
Everybody. So.
I have a suggestion on the communication, and I think we should be able to charge the expense for doing this off to as a FEMA expense, but have cards printed and laminated and attach them to the trash cans. There's labor and expense involved in that, but this is the deadline, this is when we're going to stop, being free and easy with this, and the rules will go back into effect for 6 inches, 6 feet. It's just a suggestion.
Well, we did that when we bought trash cans, 9,000 of them, so we're experienced with stuff and flyers and taking them.
Just thinking 9,000 flyers might be a worthwhile thing to do to really make sure the message gets to people. I think that'd be a good idea. So, Councilmember.
I'll just close. Tell your people, chiefs, tell your people the council appreciates it. I took a couple phone calls. We always get worried when we get phone calls, but they were good. And people know how backed up you are. It didn't go unnoticed. So if you all pass that down to your staff, we'll appreciate it as a council.
And the only thing I'll say is sometimes you'll run into a homeowner and they're like, well, the FEMA guy came by and said they're going to pick it up. I think they're misidentifying our contractor with FEMA. They're not FEMA employees. They're paid by us. So anytime we can kind of get that out, it's not the federal government running around in a Jeep Wrangler with a yellow strobe lights. They're our contractor. And I think Councilman Pinkerton has talked to maybe her near his house. So that was kind of the thing last week. Well, FEMA said they will get it. Well, FEMA's not here. And because that's not their role. Our role is to pick it up. Their role is to provide the assistance. So anyway.
All right, before you sit down, I've sent out an email, but I want to say it out loud again, repeating the heroic efforts of being in the storm and the near misses that I heard about, and to say how thankful that I am, and I know everybody on council, and I know everybody who lives in this city is thankful that we had no loss of life of any citizens in the city, and no serious injuries for any of our employees. And like I said, I did hear some harrowing near misses for our city employees during the storm response. And so all of your employees, just extend our appreciation, and this won't be the last conversation that we have about how we're going to show our appreciation for your efforts. So thank you. Thanks, West. Any further questions for other department heads? All right, thank you. Thank you for being here with us this evening. You are excused if you would like to go, but you're welcome to stay for the last 2 items on our agenda. Item 7, business. These are items that are anticipated to come before council at our next business meeting. Any action taken tonight is simply to decide whether that item will become part of the agenda of our business meeting. 7A, TX-2024-03, miscellaneous refinements to the zoning ordinance. Mr. Derby, our planning director, will you summarize, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I've got a pretty big list here to go through. Go through each one of these sections, kind of summarize them at the end. If you have questions, I'll gladly go over those. The staff report, first 2 sections we want to talk about is 245A, 255A. Those are our mid and our high zoning designations for lot sizes. I don't want to get ahead of or try to help with overhanging vehicles on sidewalks. Those setbacks are 15 feet from the property line. Average parking space is 18 feet. So it's still not into the road, but in some situations we're having an issue overhanging into sidewalks. So what we're trying to propose is to have the sidewalk, the setback pushed back 20 feet. That would accommodate that. 3218, 3241, 3242, 3243 are dealing with the uses of alcohol sales in the city. We do have a separation with alcohol sales and residential properties and uses. That's not in line with the state regulation. We did a recent update for churches and schools to be in line with the state regulation when it comes to setbacks. As we move forward with our downtown, especially what happens to City Hall and word development, we're kind of hindered when it comes to having some of those uses come to our downtown, given the certain spots we have that are prominent for redevelopment. 455 is also a parking regulation I tried to amend. Currently, we have to have 2 parking spots per residential development. A lot of that's accounted for in the garages. That's something I wanted to take away, so you are providing that in the driveway as well. So in the end, you're getting 4 parking spots guaranteed. 473 is the in lieu of sidewalk construction. This is something that I've always looked at that we've had with site plans that come in. Currently, we have a waiver, the plan director himself, to waive the requirement of a sidewalk or development when it is seen not feasible given the location of sidewalks or lack of sidewalks in the area. This is a process which allows the developer at the time to provide the fee of putting in the sidewalk into a fund that we can use to connect sidewalks that are broken within the city. 410.6 is exempt signage. This deals with message display signs. This is something we want to look towards at the Arts Center and Municipal Complex. It's in an overlay district. Electronic message display signs are not allowed in that district. This would allow for the city to have it on city property for the purpose of providing public information only. So it's not for advertising, for sales, things like that. So those are the items that did go to Planning Commission on October 1st. Not too much discussion, more or less, that these were some pretty good items that I kind of expressed that I always wanted to look into changing. Planning Commission did recommend approval of 7-0. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Derby. A motion is in order. Councilmember Roche.
Mayor, I move that council approve TX 2024-03 miscellaneous refinements to the zoning ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Roche with a second from Councilmember Pinkerton. Discussion. Councilmember O'Rear.
First, I want to thank Director Derby. He's always very kind to put up with me when I drop in and ask questions because sometimes things come up. We talked about some of this before, and I guess, a couple of concerns I had. One is they're all lumped into one ordinance, which means accept one, accept all, or take one out. We can try to amend, whatever. But going down the list, really, what are the state regulations on 3218, 3241, 32? What do they read? I'm very familiar with how these things have evolved over the years as it comes to alcohol and set and distances and things like that. But I just don't even know what the state regulation is regarding that.
I'll flip my ordinance. The religious one is, I believe it's 300 feet from the alcohol sales to churches, playgrounds, and schools. What we changed is that the actual distance the person takes from that establishment to the first building on that property. Okay. What we used to have with that was that if you had a church like the one on Harrisbridge Road that's set back pretty far along the road, that property touches Harrisbridge Road, so you have to use across the street. The actual use is 400 yards back from the property. That's one thing we updated, that it was actually the distance from the use, not the property line. What we have now is 100 feet from residential property for alcohol sales. The state does not have that. You don't have churches, schools, and playgrounds for separations.
Okay, that was my big question, because I know in the past when these have been fought, the churches and everyone, they wanted to curb it distance. In other words, the curb from the establishment, curb to the church, and that could be 1,000 feet. So this is a building to building.
Correct.
Okay, that's much more feasible. All right. Thank you very much for 455. You know where I live, and we have no parking, and the parking they have is just their garages. So I wholeheartedly support 455 because you can't even have company at your house if you don't have a garage. So I appreciate the Planning Commission and y'all recognizing that and making that a need. And you and I discussed this, I do not agree with 473. Everything I read in there is, there's nothing the developer or builder has done to lose the ability to build the sidewalk there. And I don't think that's fair to the developer to have to then turn around and spend their money to put a sidewalk in somewhere else in the city. Although it does benefit the city, but it's not fair to the developer to spend money that they don't even know the property over here, they have no reason to be here. I just don't think that's fair to them through no fault. I know you and I talked about the whole tree thing, and if people do the wrong thing, cut down too many trees, having to do things, but this everything I've read here, it's a no fault, it's a discretionary thing. Like, we just can't do it, it's not possible. And I don't think I can agree with that. I'll probably be outvoted on it, but I don't think I agree on that. And I read this may be a Administrator Gracely question on the last one. The signage, I know we're looking at a sign ordinance coming up, and I just didn't know if there was going to be any kind of, or are we getting a little ahead on this?
No, these signs are permitted, they're just not permitted in the downtown overlay district. And so this change gives the city the ability. I know Councilmember Hutchings and I have talked for a while about needing some signage at the Arts Center, electronic signage that would advise people of events and things happening, community events, public events, as they drive down Academy Street. And right now we're precluded from putting that sign out there because it is part of the downtown overlay district. So this would it would still apply to private property owners. It would just give the city the ability to do it for public purposes.
Well, let me ask you this, and this may be way off, I don't know, because I've watched personally, I work all throughout the county, I watched personally the city of Greenville using its resources and manpower to place in the city's rights of way signage supporting the new penny sales tax. Will this allow the city to also promote an ordinance or something of its own liking in its own space versus not allowing the public to express an opposing view?
Well, governments are not permitted to use resources or money, taxpayer money, to advocate for political causes. I was asked for us to use city resources to do that, and I said no. Because I think there's a legal threshold there that we would have been crossing. So no, the electronic signs would just be to advertise events. Now we pull out, when there's a concert at Heritage Park, we pull out the portable signs to promote those about a week in advance, or to let people know, expect traffic delays. This would be the same type of thing. I doubt we would put concert information on that sign. We would put information for things happening at City Park or the Art Center or city council meetings or things like that. But no, it would not be any kind of referendum or political anything.
Very good, but that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. I think it concludes. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Maybe a little clarification on that. The additional sign, when we talked about this initially, if you think Malden Cultural Center, the sign they have out front there, you can't go through there hardly without seeing that and seeing what's going on at the Arts Center. That's the kind of sign we were talking about putting up at the front of City Park. And, we have one now at the ice cream station where we promote certain events as well. So that's really what I think this whole thing is aimed at, is to get these signs up to promote our activities in our various venues that we have, and not for any nefarious purposes.
I didn't think so, but gotta ask the question sometimes. Thanks.
Council. Councilmember Pinkerton.
Yes, sir. Back to the sidewalk. Lost my spot. Anyway, I'm assuming this, let me get back to it. The sidewalk fee in lieu of situation is because we could require by ordinance in planning and building that developers or whomever have to provide a sidewalk for some reason or another, right?
That's correct.
All right. So in this case, maybe you could provide one that gives an example, but in the case that they doesn't serve a purpose like you've written here, you're offering them a fee in lieu of. I don't have a problem with that. As I mentioned to you, I think it's low, and I'd appreciate you guys going back and look at my analogy and maybe make an amendment on that if necessary. If not, fine, I can deal with it. But based on what I see here, if it's the cost of concrete times 2, essentially, you saw my math. I just think it's a low number. And if it's really a lessened impact to a developer to have to pay in a fee for a sidewalk that he normally has to provide anyway. So I'm not looking for it as being a catch-all. It's probably very rare, but the idea is to fix gaps within the city. That's where that would go into public works, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah, I would just appreciate you guys taking a look at that, and if we want to discuss it later, we can.
Mr. Bragg on vacation when he gets back, I'll definitely talk to them about that. It is a requirement in our zoning for all developers that own a street to put in the sidewalk. And the way it's been in the past, a lot of the property owners got out of it. We've looked at not requiring it because if it's a sidewalk being put in that does not connect the larger network, the city's on the hook for that. So we have to maintain that because DOT says we're not going to connect that. Or we're not going to maintain something that does not connect anywhere. So that's kind of the reason why we've never pushed for a waiver. So all those times we've waived those kinds of sidewalks that could
Councilmember Roche.
Just to provide a little bit of background, we had I think one of the cases that was a catalyst for this decision, Mr. Knudsen was still here. We had a property owner that wanted to build off of Fairview Road, and it was in the back behind another strip of restaurants and businesses. And part of the deal was that they do this for us as part of, the planning. Couldn't make it happen legally. But they actually worked with Mr. Knudsen and proposed, look, we'll give you this much money, you can use it for a sidewalk you need somewhere else in the city. And then this idea was sort of, I think, born out of that. And so far it's working for us, so I don't have any problems with it. I think it's, kind of a nice trade-off.
Council? On the motion to approve TX-2024-03 miscellaneous refinements to the zoning ordinance and move this item to the next agenda of the business meeting, all those in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. All opposed signify by saying no. That motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Item 7B, proposal to rename City Park. Councilmember Roche, will you summarize, please?
Yes. As we have opportunity to provide our city with a newly renovated park facility, I believe now is a great time to also appoint a new name that will be meaningful to future residents and visitors. When I was sworn in for my first term on City Council in 2017, it was no secret that Simpsonville was struggling in every possible way. Our financial status was in the red, our budgets were stretched thin and unable to cover all the departmental needs, and our public image was diminishing. Much of our downtown area was dotted with blight and dilapidated buildings, and our city parks were dated and crumbling. We, City Council, had a collective vision, but we needed a miracle. We needed a leader that knew how to make our vision a reality. The ideal candidate for this overwhelming task would have to employ all of the skills of a masterful financial planner, city planner, economic developer, and have all the right connections to bring Simpsonville into the 21st century and make us more than just a bedroom community. We found all of that and more when each of us interviewed Dianna Gracely and unanimously voted to hire her to partner with us. In the past 7 years, Dianna has worked tirelessly to rebuild our city's financial status, including gaining nearly $20 million in grants to fund our city projects. She revamped our city staff into an energetic and cohesive team, created partnerships with vendors to open new revenue streams, draw tourism, encourage small businesses and entrepreneurs, revitalize our downtown and shopping district, and rebrand the city of Simpsonville in the most positive ways. Due to Administrator Gracely's efforts, the city of Simpsonville has received multiple awards and recognitions as a re-emerging vibrant municipality. As we prepare to move into the new municipal complex and unveil our new city park to the public, I think it's only fitting that we honor Dianna as our trusted visionary and leader for all that she has contributed to Simpsonville's growth and improvements. Therefore, I am proposing that we, City Council, establish and appoint Gracely Park to be the new name for our renovated city park, and that name be placed on all directional signage, mapping, and digital references in the future.
Second.
I'm going to receive that as a motion and second that motion. We have a motion from Councilmember Roche with a second from the mayor. Discussion. Councilmember O'Rear.
Simpsonville City Park has been a humongous part of my life. I probably started playing ball games there in 1978. And so I feel like I'm kind of attached to that. I'm very happy to be attached to the name change now and able to vote yes for this because I think it's deserved. I know I haven't been here very long, but I know the kind of work Dianna does and just from what I've observed, but I've heard even more. So I'm glad to be part of this, and I appreciate Councilmember Roche doing this. So I will be voting yes, obviously.
Councilmember Rupe.
Yeah, I will echo. I'm not sure if the council has been more of one mind. A quick phone call it was for the mayor, I believe, called me and didn't take much deliberation on my part and where I think it was. So I appreciate the council member bringing this up and acknowledging you, the city and the citizens owe a great debt of gratitude. I think they take for granted that their taxes haven't gone up since you've been sitting in that chair. And I think if they knew now the other cities' taxes have gone up, that they would know that really one person has been basically responsible for that. So I want to thank you and I speak for the citizens of the city.
Councilmember Hutchings.
I was fortunate enough to be on the interview process when Ms. Gracely came to us, and I didn't realize what a gym we had at that time. But all of the goals and plans that we've made over the last several councils, Ms. Gracely has been the person who has been basically responsible for turning those into reality. And I can't say enough good things about her and about the job she's done for the city and for the council to be able to achieve those goals. So I wholeheartedly agree with this process, and I think it's just a small token of all of the appreciation that we owe you.
Councilmember Pinkerton.
I could repeat everything everybody said, but I'm all for this, and I appreciate Sherry calling me up and asking me about this, and we talked about it. I thought it was a great thing.
Councilmember Williams.
I also agree. I know I also haven't been on council very long, but I have very much seen the difference that has been in the city over the last several years, and the amount of hard work that I have seen in the last year, and always willing to help and provide anything that she can for anybody, for everybody, and I 100% agree with this, and I'm glad that Sherry, or Councilwoman Roche had brought this up, because I think this is a great idea. Great thing.
It's my privilege and honor to go last among this council, and I want to start by saying, I want to make sure everybody realizes how hard it is to get an item on the agenda without the city administrator understanding what is happening. And Councilmember Roche, well done. Before I ever even considered running for city council for the seat of mayor, this is not something that had crossed my mind. I heard that city council had hired Dianna Gracely, and I knew who she was. The reason I knew who she was is because of riding up to the mountains and going through Traveler's Rest and going, what on earth is going on in this place? And looking into it and finding this person's name behind the great changes that were taking place in Traveler's Rest. And I knew that our city council had done something very special, and it was going to have an impact on this city. And then to end up to have the privilege to serve this community and to work with Dianna Gracely. It has been my great honor to get to know you, and I can't get behind this enough. And I again express my appreciation to Councilmember Roche for coming up with this idea. I think that Gracely Park has just such a wonderful ring to it. And so thank you for what you've done, and I think this is an honor that is well earned and well deserved.
Thank you.
On the motion to...
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Please, Mr. Campbell.
As the community relations specialist, I will be more than happy to assist with this. I do want council and staff to be aware that renaming the park is almost going to be like a rebranding of the park. It has had an identity, but this helps create a fresh identity. This could attract even new visitors who are hearing about this, this new name, this new park, and any negative perceptions there were about the park. We have kind of a fresh start. I don't think there were many negative perceptions, but this creates a way to have a fresh identity. I feel like it's my job to tell you there will be pushback on this. There will be some backlash, people saying this is Simpsonville City Park, it's always been this way. And your role as council and mayor in supporting this name change is going to not back down. You can be respectful and polite, listen to people, but a lot of the times public relations is about telling people what is going to be and then being confident with that while being respectful. I look forward to helping in this. It's not going to just be changing a park name and putting it on a sign. It's going to be about shaping people's perceptions and understanding why this is such a fitting name for this park. I would ask for a clarification. Will it be Simpsonville Gracely Park or Gracely Park?
Gracely Park.
Gracely Park.
Thank you, Mayor.
On the motion to approve the proposal to rename City Park Gracely Park, all those in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. All opposed signify by saying no. That motion carries 7-0, and this item will carry over to the business agenda of our next meeting. With that, that concludes all of the items on our agenda. If there are no objections, we will stand adjourned.